Turning our attention to the publicans and those running pubs that have been affected by the coronavirus outbreak over the past couple of days. We've got two big GAA names on the line. We've got former Meath footballer Brian Farrell on the line and also current Kerry footballer Paul Geaney on the line. Good morning to you, lads. You're very welcome.
Morning. How are you getting on?
Brian, we might start with you. You might just explain to us the last few days for you personally and for your business.
Yeah, so I suppose the landscape's been changing by 2 or 3 times every day. So kind of at the end of last week, we kind of knew we were under pressure kind of to stay open and that it was probably going to be only a matter of time. And you were kind of seeking some direction on it. Direction, to be honest with you, was slow coming from the government because they obviously have a lot more on their plate. So the decision was kind of made Saturday evening that we had to kind of act on it, and we made the decision Saturday night that when we closed the door, that was going to be it until further notice, in order to, I suppose, protect our staff, protect our customers, and just to do the right thing, you know.
So your pub is a small rural pub, and I take it on a regular, say, weekday night and maybe even on a weekend night, there will be less than 100 people in your pub.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and like, I suppose when it was kind of a little bit jokey kind of in the middle of last week, the joke was that we put, if we got over 100, we put the balance of the people out into the shed and they'd have to wait to come in. But I suppose that never materialised. You know, we had to take everything so serious. So yeah, you would always be less than 100, and to be pure kind of people within your 4 or 5 mile radius that would be coming into you anyhow.
But even with the number half of 100, like 100 was always going to be a strange number for a pub like yours to deal with, because practicing safe social distancing, you'd need a fraction of that, I would have assumed.
Yeah, but like, the social distancing is something that we've just heard in the last 3 or 4 days. You know, we've never really encountered that before, and as a country, let's be honest about it. We don't do social distancing. It's all in or nothing, isn't it? Really. So it was always going to be a challenge, you know. But it's like someone says, was it a hard decision? It's not, because it's, as I heard someone before saying, it's completely the right decision, you know. And it's kind of, we'll get by. Like, you've got, most publicans probably have got maybe 3 to 4 weeks, if lucky, of kind of a cash flows. But it's the employees around the country, you know, and our employees that you'd really, really fear for, you know.
I might just bring Paul Geaney in on that. Paul, good morning to you.
Morning.
Would you be on the same page as Brian there, that this is the right decision? I presume there might have been a few stag parties and stuff like that filtering through Dingle over the course of the weekend?
Yeah, it's undoubtedly the right decision. I suppose I would echo Brian's on just the lateness of it, and I suppose a lot of people were still unaware how severe the situation was, and it kind of became more clear as the weekend was going. We had a lot of cancellations on the Friday and that, and you could see that it was going to be a lot quieter. It would have been an extremely busy weekend for us otherwise. But then, you know, you could see Friday night was quiet enough, and then Saturday you could see as the day was going on that policing that, you know, the social distancing was going to be difficult. And while we didn't have anywhere near 100, you know, people, I suppose, as the night went on with drink on board, just were in their usual habit of, you know, chatting within a close enough distance, and it was obvious that we were going to have to make a decision anyway, regardless of the government coming in to close the doors. But it's definitely the right decision. It is difficult for especially the staff, as Brian said. You know, there's not much light shed yet as to what they can do over the next while and what we can do to keep them employed. But we're going to try and do maybe a delivery service this week. We'll try that. I just got the internet up and running there over the weekend to order online, but it'll be difficult enough with the English sparse population, and you know, you're talking about a massive radius of people. But you know, there is an older population as well here, and you fear for those people that are at home that usually will pop into the pub for their sandwich or their dinner. And as far as takeaway options go, there aren't too many facilities down here in Dingle for you know, wholesome meals or you know, your roast of the day. and that sort of thing. So we're going to try and provide that for the people of the town. It'd probably be more in our interest to close the door and just shut up shop, but I suppose these things have to be provided for as well in small communities. So I'm sure a lot of pubs, that are restaurants as well around the country will provide those sort of services for people over the next while.
Yeah, for sure. I think there was a lot of anger over the course of the weekend when a particular video from Temple Bar in particular went viral, when you had close to 100 people, I don't know the exact number, singing Sweet Caroline in a pub. Like, obviously you said yourself that you were open on Saturday night and that you were going to come to the decision to close this pub anyway, but I think that there was almost a rush to tar all pubs with the one brush as soon as that video came out.
Pubs were thrown into the fire as a whole, I think, and I think it was wrong because the pubs, I'm sure, were doing a lot, that they thought they were doing the right thing, but there wasn't a total, the severity wasn't really made 100% clear. I think that's clear across anything. People standing in shops talking to each other is the same thing, on the street, and it's just as Ryan said, the people we didn't know what social distancing was until a couple of days ago, and that's the whole psyche of it. And then I suppose pubs were an easy target then because of what went on social media, and then the whole lot were tarred with the same brush. So that's difficult for the industry to take. I'm sure there was many more pubs around the country that were completely fine and would have been fine as well, but I suppose you just can't take the chance anymore. It's an emergency situation now, and that's been made very clear over the weekend. But if that had come a little bit sooner, it might have been easier for people to make those decisions earlier and be more proactive about it. But I suppose it's unprecedented, and the government had enough on their plate as well until it was made clear that these steps had to be taken, I suppose.
Yeah. Brian, people are rightly preoccupied at the moment with the health side of this and making sure that we get through this outbreak. And in 2 or 3 months, people will start to focus more on the economic side and the economic damage I think that everybody in this country is going to have to suffer over the next while. From a rural pub's point of view, what sort of help can the government give you over the next few weeks to ensure that when we get through this, the pubs are actually in a position to reopen?
Yeah, I suppose decision making and making hard decisions would assist us greatly, and it would assist every business and organisation in this country. And you listened to the interview yesterday with Dr. Michael Ryan from the World Health Organization. He's like, if you get paralyzed by not making decisions, you will fail. And especially he's come across all these emergencies. So if the government make decisions and let us know what to do, give us direction, I think it would be great. Personally, I feel that a pause button needs to be pressed for about 90 days, starting with the banks, and give people their grace on their kind of loan repayments, mortgage repayments, and then we go back and we look at kind of our rates. Companies talk to our suppliers, but there needs to be a 90-day pause there for everyone to survive and to get through this.
Brian, if that does not happen, how under threat is your own business? How under threat are businesses in your locality?
Well, I think they're severely under pressure. You're talking about they'll have to be backed up maybe from family members' personal savings, going to getting restructuring loans in the banks, which is just kicking the can down the road, really. But if there's not an element of assistance, like I see. Last night they come out and announced that they're looking for employers to pay the €203 per employee that you lay off. But employers won't have that cash flow. That cash flow will run out after 2 weeks. You can't, Diageo, we've all our stock, and Paul will be the same. They've all their stock that we were going to sell this weekend and into early this week. That still has to be paid for, even though there's no takings, and that stays in stock. So it's if there's no action taken, it will lead to severe consequences. Yeah.
Paul, what about in your situation then? Obviously, you've mentioned going out and potentially offering a delivery service. That's kind of a two-pronged approach. Obviously, the local people in the locality are getting that service. You've also got the element of your own staff actually having some employment. I presume it has to keep you ticking over as a business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to try whatever you can to keep your head above water. And I suppose those two things, as you mentioned, are kind of two main focuses for it. Is literally the employees, to try and keep them in the job, and to provide a service then as well for the people that need it most around the town and the surrounding areas. But look, I suppose 2 weeks is what they're putting on it, but in all likelihood, if you look at elsewhere, if you look at China, they're just after starting to recede numbers on Friday, I think, and that's 2 months in. So it's probably more, you're looking at four weeks, or Italy is still, it's a week ahead of us and still in crisis there. So you're talking 3 to 4 weeks at the very least. So probably the quicker that is as well is made more clear to businesses, they can take more steps to try and sort themselves out. But the cash flow is going to be under severe pressure in a lot of businesses, and as we made clear by, I think it was Vintners, a lot of pubs will close and will never open again throughout the country. So individually, every business is going to have to try and do what they can, and it's just going to be a very difficult time for the industry. I know everyone in the country is going to be affected by this, but if you have a government job or other jobs, you still get paid. It's more the industry, the tourist industry is going to take a severe hit, and you're talking about all the hotels cancellations for the next 6 months as a result of it, and all those people that were gearing up to go into full season. We've taken on an extra couple of employees as well over the last while to gear up for the season, which usually kicks off around Patrick's Day. So you'd have a lot of businesses in that situation with that investment put in for the coming season, and I don't know what the government can do for it. Something will have to be done, I'm afraid.
It's an unbelievably tough time, Paul, and it's almost the sort of time you would love to have football as something to take your mind off it, to go and kick a ball. Is that something you've been able to do at all? I know it doesn't seem important, and it isn't important in the grand scheme of things, but are you keeping yourself fit? Are you going to be able to keep yourself ticking along over the next few weeks?
Yeah, obviously over the last couple of days it's been pretty hectic, trying to get our ducks in a row, but I keep fit now over the next while and get up to the field and do some fitness work and some skills work. But it's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to doing all that on your own again. It's like almost going into the off season again, because you obviously can't train with anyone, or you can't use gyms as such. So it's going to be very hard. But we could be back in 2 weeks. So you have to be ready for that. So that's the main aim now over the next while, is to keep the fitness ticking over and be ready for the season if it comes along again quickly. But it's going to be a strange period. Obviously, it's the thing you want to do at the moment, is take the mind off all that's going on, is go out and play football, and unfortunately, we can't do that, and people that'll be at home will want to be putting on sports the weekend, and they don't have that either. So it's going to be a difficult time for everyone. But just get out and make sure that you're keeping your mind from being idle. I think is a strong message that's been out there, and it's important for people to do that, even if it is in isolation.
Absolutely, Paul. Final word to you then, Brian. I think you're manager of Artoth at the moment. Obviously, the clubs at the moment not going to be allowed to train either, rightly so, no collective training. Is there going to be anything, is the pitch going to be open for people to even train on their own? Is there any advice you'd have to club footballers who are at a loose end at the moment?
I suppose, like, the GA has come down and more or less kind of closed gyms and pitches, and they've kind of threatened that you wouldn't be covered in insurance, basically. I think they should be left open so that guys can go and do their own bit of work, I think direction also should come, whether can you train in 2s and 3s, because, we're talking social distancing or social isolation, there's a big difference, and it's for, as Paul said there, it's for the mind and the body now. And that date that's thrown out there, the 29th of March, it's like, that's many days away now. It's only 13 days away. So it's kind of pie in the sky. We're probably looking 4 weeks. So look, I'd love to be able to tell lads to go out in groups of 2s and 3s and do their own bit and take ownership for their own body and their own mentality and do your bits of programs. But I don't know if we're going to be allowed. It could be guys just having to get out and do bits and pieces on their own.
Yeah, and I guess home fitness regimes and things like that are going to be all the rage over the next couple of weeks as well. Listen, Brian, thanks a million for taking the call. Really appreciate it. And Paul Geaney as well. Very best luck to you over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a tough time, but we wish you all the best. Brian Farrell, former Meath footballer, and Paul Geaney, current Kerry footballer, on the line there.